Everyone,
Hello.
how's it going? So every now and then, we like to go live on the YouTube channel and address a couple questions that we have from viewers. For those that don't know, my name is Ed.
I'm Elizabeth.
And we are physical therapists over at Integrated Physical Therapy in Bellingham, Washington. So if you're joining us live, make sure you say hi in the chat. It's always nice
to know.
Ask
a question.
Exactly. It's always nice to
Make a nice comment.
Exactly. If it's
Nice
mean, just
comment.
forget it. Just move on. Just go on somewhere else. All right. So these are the things that we're going to be talking about. These are some questions that YouTube viewers have had, and we thought maybe sometimes it's easier just to address them live.
Yeah.
So, hey, and
also it's kind of privy information for our members.
Oh yeah, exactly. So, yeah, if you don't know about Live Well 50, so Elizabeth and I are well into our early 50s, not 30s, early 50s.
What happened there?
And well, I was going to say 53, which, we are, but so that means the three.
Okay, I got it.
Cognitively, I'm slipping. So anyway, so we are in our early 50s, and so we have livewell50.com. You can check it out. I talk about it if you've been to our videos before. If you are watching this and you are a Live Well 50 member, I've just put on some member content only about a men's health course, Better Man Tomorrow, a health primer. It is men's health for June, and we need all the help we can get. And then also too, you've got, your yoga classes that are going to be on Live Well 50 as well.
Yeah, I do. I've been doing a yoga class. I'm just recently, I'm a registered yoga teacher.
Yes.
So I do a live yoga class weekly, but I'm adding another class. We're switching the times and days up. But yeah, we're going to do a hatha flow, kind of a vinyasa hatha combination Tuesday mornings. And then we're going to do a yin yoga class on Thursday evenings. I'm starting to teach in person if you're local here in Bellingham.
So check it out, livewell50.com for all the details. All right. Let's get back to work here. So first question we have. Hey, and Elizabeth, love your channel. I have a question. I know I should be doing aerobic exercise and strength training exercises. However, I'm a little busy today at work. Which is better, aerobic exercise or strength training until I can do both? So yes, ideally in a perfect world, we're doing aerobic exercise as well as strength training. However, if we have to pick, strength training would be the answer that you would want to do. Ideally, you're doing both, but if not, you get a lot more bang for your buck with strength training. And there's something about improving our overall musculoskeletal strength that almost has this protective mechanism to our overall health. Yes, cardio is going to improve our cardiovascular system, but strength training, and researchers don't quite know why. It's not just as simple as I have bigger biceps now, but there's something about the strength training and the way it activates the nervous system and the way it gets the body primed for exercise and activity that has a more global effect, a positive global effect than just aerobic exercise does. And if you've heard about high intensity interval training, there are ways in which you can take your weight training and actually get a little bit more of a cardio component out of it as well. But you definitely want to work on strength training, especially for those of us over 50. It's a non-negotiable.
Right.
I will hear, but Ed, I've never lifted weights and I don't even know where I should start with that right now. And so what I tell them to do is just keep it very basic. So compound movements, doing an exercise because you see someone else doing it at the YMCA isn't a great idea. But if you stick to basic motions, and so like a vertical pull down, okay, so that could be with a bar up there, even if you don't have to do pull-ups, but a pull down and a push up, and then a horizontal pull, and then a horizontal push, and then some sort of squat exercise because squatting is so functional. It could just be body weight squats. Just find a bench and stand up and down. If that's easy, grab onto a little dumbbell right here. It doesn't have to be a big bar.
Get your arms involved in the squat too.
Yeah, exactly. And so, having those basic components is a really good idea. Any thoughts on aerobic versus strength training?
Well, you can always incorporate sorry, I've got yoga on the brain. You can always incorporate cardio into your strength training, but and then you can get the upper body and lower body involved as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it more efficient and probably the go-to if you're going to do that. You can always get your heart rate up a little bit and get some cardio in just by increasing the speed at which you're lifting, maybe the complexity,
Sure.
Or add like a little power effect, a little tiny jump or speed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So remember, strength is king.
Go for strength.
Cardio's queen. Queens are nice, but we really want to work on strength training, non-negotiable. If you're not sure where to start, go to the YouTube channel, type in leg strengthening, arm strengthening. A bunch of videos will come up.
Yeah.
The 5 pillars of fitness, we talk about that, but you have to strength train at least a couple days a week, especially as we get older. Next question is this. Ed and Elizabeth, I'm having trouble getting motivated to exercise. I kind of lost my motivation during COVID. Any ideas to get me back on track?
Oh, so many people,
Yeah.
so many patients are saying this, or they're asking this question.
Correct.
Just derailed by the past year.
And and I'll be honest, I mean, I was at one point as well too. And we just have to, and motivation works differently for different people. There's different things that motivate others. But I just had this conversation with a client just the other day in the clinic. Same thing. She came in and she said, I was exercising regularly, but then I just kind of stopped and I never started again. And we were talking about it, trying to unpack it a little bit. And she's like, I just feel kind of low energy. I feel a little depressed. And so then I don't work out and then I kind of feel crummy about it. And so it's like this, the feelings are kind of driving the car. And then the action piece is non-action or not working out.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately the feelings are like, I'm just not feeling really good about myself at this point in time. And the identity is like, well, I'm not the healthy person that I want to be. And so what we talked about.
Well, and the identity sometimes is very defeating. Like we feel so defeated and we're very, very hard on ourselves.
Yeah, totally. Right.
And the feeling is, I don't feel like working out.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's kind of there's a little bit to that with not a counselor, but I've heard counselors say this. It's like you don't want to wait around till you feel like doing something if you're in a depressive episode, right? You do it and then you kind of feel better about it and then you feel like doing more of that, whether that's socializing or just having some sense of normalcy. So similar.
Exactly. And so what we talked about was having that identity, and pick whatever identity is important to you. And so for me, I just want to be healthy, fit, strong, and hopefully cognitively sharp until the very end. And so that's the image that I kind of keep in mind first. And so I have my identity first. Then my action piece is, okay, well, I got to go for my walk, or I'm going to go work out, or I'm going to do yoga with Elizabeth, or meditate, or whatever it might be. But that's my action piece. And then my feelings follow. So I don't have feelings driving the car, So first I have the identity, then I have the action piece, and then the feelings generally are in third. I mean, I still honor my feelings, but almost always I will feel so much better about myself.
Yeah.
And so that way, when we talk about a lot about exercising every single day. Now the exercise, no day off. And the exercise can look differently, of course. It might just be a walking program every single day and then intermixed with different things. But if you work out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, there's too much room for negotiation. Yeah. And so Monday, Wednesday, Friday might be your weight room days, but the idea is to work out every single day of the week and just do different things at different times. And that way there's no room for negotiation. You don't wake up one day unless you're sick in bed and you have to be horizontal. If you're sitting up, you could still probably do something. But you really do need to do something every single day, non-negotiable. And so use that for a little bit of motivation. If that helps you, sometimes it helps me. We all go through those, through those times.
Yeah. So if you find yourself responding to your feelings, like the feelings come first and you respond to them, it's like, oh, I believe you, brain. I don't want to do that, so I'm not going to do it. What we're asking you to do is turn that, we're just completely flip it. Because when you respond to the feelings and the feelings like, I don't feel like doing it, action pieces, I don't do it. And then it's inaction. And then your identity is like, we're really hard on ourselves. Think about what the names you call yourself when you don't work out or when you don't do something you know is really healthy for you. You're just like, oh, you idiot, I should have done that, and all the narration in the head. So we're asking you to flip that over. We're saying, identify, what do you want to identify with, who you are, then make your action piece. And then the feeling is going to be way different than the original feeling of, I don't feel like exercising. The feeling is going to be, I'm so glad I exercised.
Totally.
You will never regret exercising, but you
absolutely.
will regret not exercising.
Exactly.
Probably every time, unless, again, you're sick.
I think the key is to stress consistency over intensity. And so just the other day was my weight room day, and my back was a little sore, and I just didn't feel it. But once again, I'm like, fine if you don't feel it, but you're still going, because any part of the workout is still a workout. And so you do the best that you can in the moment. And especially if you're watching this, and not to keep harping on like 50 is a death sentence, but anyone who's over 50 understands that every day your body might feel a little bit differently. And so rather than waiting for your body to feel perfect before you work out, because that may not happen, when you're in the moment and your shoulder's a little sore, maybe you drop the weight and you still do your push-ups or whatever it might be, but maybe you cut back on the reps a little bit, And so consistency over intensity, just do the best you can within that moment.
Yeah. And with that no day off, it's like saying, I see it as kind of like discipline for my ritual. It's like, I mean, I don't always feel like meditating before I have my tea, but it's like, that's just the way I do it, because my body is still in a stillness mode, and it just works better for me that way. Rather than kind of waking up and getting all the senses firing, I just kind of like keep all the lights low. So this kind of discipline for your ritual, that's why no days off, because we want to just like keep the pattern. And then you can truly say, I identify as a person that exercises every day.
Correct.
Something like that.
Yeah. And maybe you are hopefully doing it for yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe you're doing it for your family, for your kids, for your friends. Maybe you want to be around. Maybe you want to travel. I mean, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But just pick that identity, and that's the thing that you should focus on.
Yeah.
Right. We have one more question that we're going to answer. And since there are no comments, I know people are watching. I mean, come on, throw us a bone here, something. But okay, the last question is this. And Elizabeth, oftentimes I don't have time to do all 3 sets of an exercise. You hear about 3 sets of 10. Do I really have to do 3 sets of 10, or can I get by with less? So what's interesting on that, there's a couple of different factors involved here. If there is learning that needs to be done with the movement pattern. So for example, if you're doing a brand new exercise, maybe an Olympic lift or some lift that you haven't really done before, maybe it's a kettlebell swing or something like that, then you really need to do a few more sets, because what you might find is that the first set is actually a little bit harder than the second set, because that second and third set, your body is getting used to that movement pattern and is doing a better job of recruiting those motor units for the exercise. So if it's a novel exercise that you haven't done before, and if you have the time, you're better off trying to get that third set in. Now, on the flip side, let's say it's a push-up or a bench press, something you've been doing for 20 plus years, right? You already know how to do it. The nervous system doesn't require any learning and knows exactly what you're doing. Assuming that you're warmed up, you can do actually just 1 set, and you'll still walk away with about 70% of the gains that you would get with doing up to 3 sets. So yes, you're leaving a little bit on the table, but it's not like each set is 33%. And it's not like, well, then if 3 is good, then 5 must be really good. Not really. It starts to kind of level off, because if you work close to fatigue, close to exhaustion, doesn't have to be completely till I can't do anymore, but those last few reps should be challenging. And that should be enough of a stress in the system to get the adaptive response that you need to come back stronger, assuming the other variables are in check, which means my nutrition, my protein intake, my rest, my hydration, my sleep, adequate time between the next workout. So what I tell my clients, because I've got some clients that love the weight room, I'm like, yeah, rock and roll. Do 3 sets, knock yourself out, spend hours in the weight room. That's great. Just make sure you're not too sore so that you can hit it again just as hard the next time. If you feel like you're getting still a little sore and you haven't recovered, then you need to back up the intensity, but they still like to be in the weight room. Then I have other clients that are like, I hate lifting weights. So I say, okay, warm up really well. Make sure you understand how to do the exercise, the movement pattern, and just do 1 set. But those last few reps, no matter what you're doing, need to be pretty hard. Not to failure necessarily, but you need to struggle to get those last few reps in, and then you're still going to walk away from that gym with 70% of the gains, right? I mean, what's your experience been with that? I mean, is that same kind of thing? I mean, I know sometimes you like that 3rd set.
I love the 3rd set, but I also like lifting weights. Yeah. So to me, I'm like, oh, I'd feel undone if I didn't do the 3rd set. Yeah. I feel like the 3rd set gives you an opportunity. The 1st set feels to me like especially if it's a new exercise, some kind of compound, or maybe I haven't done it in a while. That one's just sort of like working out the kinks between the head and the body. I'm like, oh, that's what I'm doing. And then the body's like, okay, I kind of have that motor programming, kind of dialing that in. 2nd set, you might raise your weights. 3rd set, you might raise your weights. So I think the 3rd set is the place where you can add weights and you can benefit that way too. So I would feel like I didn't. That's just me. But again, I like lifting weights. Sure. But the other thing is, I think that the reason we point these things out is because we really want no excuses.
Absolutely.
Like you can have, even if you hate strength training, you can do 1 set, just do it. You put everything into that, all your eggs in that basket, but do it with everything you've got then. Like really do it. And that's the thing. I think that especially people who don't like strength training, they're probably not going to put all of that in that 1 set. So we kind of a little bit have, different thoughts on this, but the most important thing is that you do it. So if you're going to do 1 set, if you're not going to do it or do 1 set, do 1 set.
Correct. Yeah. And like you said too, what's nice about that is that you don't have to think that you need to spend that much time in the weight room to still get the benefits. Even if you've only got a half an hour, you're like, I'm not even going to go. What can I get done in half an hour? You can actually get a lot done in a 30-minute workout, especially if you're efficient and keep the chit chat to a minimum. Yeah. So, all right, guys, that's the end of our time. If you have any questions you want answered,
shoot us some comment.
Exactly. Shoot us a comment, leave it down below. Let us know, email us, and maybe we'll answer your question at our next live Q&A.
Yeah, who knows?
All right, guys, thanks for joining us, and we will see you soon.
Peace in, peace out.
Take care.